Yes, mates, how's it going? My name's Lee, and welcome back to the FPL Punk YouTube channel for Game Week 9's episode of This or That, where we put two players head to head of similar value, comparing form, fixtures, and data to make a decision on who is the best option between this player or that player. Let's jump straight into today's first matchup. Who should you pick? Let's find out.
Be strong.
Right, mates, our first matchup is between two goalkeepers. Emi Martinez of Aston Villa, 5 million goalkeeper, 13.1% owned, versus Jordan Pickford of Everton, 4.8 million, 9.2% owned. In terms of the form, I would probably favour Pickford in terms of this. He's kept a couple clean sheets in a row now, as opposed to Aston Villa and Martinez, who have struggled in terms of keeping clean sheets. I think Pickford and Everton have got the better fixtures. As you can see from the fixture difficulty rating down at the bottom, Everton have got 4 green fixtures and then Man United away in Game Week 13. I think the fact that they've got Fulham at home in Game Week 9, and then even the away fixtures against Southampton and West Ham are pretty good fixtures. So even though they are away from home, I think they are still decent fixtures for Everton and keeping clean sheets. So for that round, I'm going to give the fixtures to Pickford. In terms of minutes, I think they're both number ones. They're both nailed to start. In terms of the predicted clean sheets, Everton are predicted to keep 1.4 clean sheets over the next 5. As opposed to Aston Villa's 1. And as a result of that, Pickford is predicted to get more expected points over that 5-game period, predicted to get 18.9 points as opposed to Martinez's 18.2. And that's just down to the fact that in Game Week 10 is away to Spurs, in Game Week 11 is away to Liverpool, in Game Week 13 is away to Chelsea. But it could easily keep a clean sheet in that Game Week 9 fixture against Bournemouth, and in the fixture against Crystal Palace in Game Week 12. But for me, it's a clear winner for this, and I'm going Pickford all day long. Up next, we're going to take a look at some budget defenders. So we've got Aït-Nouri of Wolves, 4.4 million, 3.2% owned, up against Michael Keane, 4.1 million defender for Everton, 7% owned so far. In terms of the form, Aït-Nouri has had a couple of attacking returns, as opposed to Michael Keane's couple clean sheets, and I think he also got an attacking return in there as well. The fixtures are probably pretty similar to the... and they've got mainly green fixtures with a couple kind of medium difficulty fixtures in there as well. But I think the minutes definitely lie with Aït-Nouri. I think he is more guaranteed for starts and minutes. I think Michael Keane, once the likes of Branthwaite and O'Brien come back from injuries, then I think his minutes might be reduced from that point of view. And you can see that from the expected points down at the bottom. Aït-Nouri is expected to get 20 points over the next 5 games, and with the likes of Crystal Palace, Southampton, and Bournemouth at home in the next 5 games, as opposed to Michael Keane's only 2.3 expected points in there. So I don't expect him to keep his place for very long. He might play the next 2 or 3, and I think he'll lose his place after that point once they do get some players back. But Wolves are predicted to get 1.4 clean sheets over this period, and that's the exact same as Everton, 1.4. But that one's pretty even from this point of view. But I think the fact that Aït-Nouri is going to get minutes and he's better from an attacking point of view, I'm giving this round to Aït-Nouri all day long. Now let's take a look at some more premium defenders. We've got Pedro Porro, 5.5 million defender for Spurs, 29.2% owned, up against Gvardiol, 6 million defender for City, 23.4% owned. I think in terms of the form, I would favour Gvardiol for this one, where they've kept more clean sheets, and he scored a goal today against Wolves, which is an absolute banger. Porro and Spurs just aren't keeping the clean sheets, not as many as you would expect, and he's not had an attacking return for a few weeks now. But I do think Spurs have got the better fixtures over the next 5, with the likes of Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Ipswich. Now they've got Man City in 12, but then Fulham at home in Game Week 13. I think it's a decent run of games for Porro as opposed to Gvardiol. Great fixture in Game Week 9, but then the likes of Bournemouth, Brighton, Spurs and Liverpool after that. And so that's the reason why I would favour Spurs and Porro for the fixtures point of view. I think the minutes, I would also favour Porro for this one as well. Thing is with Gvardiol and Pep, you never know what he's going to do. He has started majority of games, but you just don't really know what he's going to do, and you don't want him being dropped for that Southampton game, which is a prime fixture for Man City and Gvardiol. So I would probably lean more towards Porro for the minutes aspect. But in terms of the predicted data, Man City are predicted to keep 2 clean sheets over the next 5. As opposed to Spurs' 1.2, which I think is a little bit generous. I don't think they've been great defensively so far, and that's reflective of their expected points, where Gvardiol is expected to get 23.4 points over this fixture one, as opposed to Porro's 18.5. So even though I think this one's pretty close, I am going to lean more towards the better team and the better defense, and I'm going to go Gvardiol for this one. I think there's that many great defensive options for Game Week 9. I had to take a look at a couple more. So we've got Dalot for Man United, 5.1 million defender, 10.2% owned, up against Anthony Robinson, 4.7 million defender for Fulham, 15.4% owned. I would probably favour Dalot in terms of the form, where we have kept a clean sheet or so, as opposed to Robinson. Fulham have only kept 1 clean sheet so far, and he has got an attacking return, but that's just not enough for me so far. In terms of the fixtures, I think they've both got pretty good fixtures at the mostly green, with one relatively difficult fixture in there. Chelsea at home in game week 10 for Man United, and Spurs away in game week 13 for Fulham. That one's pretty similar. For that one, in terms of the minutes, I think again it's relatively similar. I think they're both 90-minute men. Dalot's played every single minute of every single game so far this season. And it might surprise you, but Dalot is currently the 5th highest scoring defender in the game so far on 36 points. Robinson's on about 26, 29 points, something like that. So even though United haven't looked great, and they probably haven't been great in terms of like the results, like Dalot is still ticking along. Like he's still keeping the odd clean sheet. He's still getting the attacking returns. I obviously watch a lot of United, and I love Dalot. I just think he's class. He can play left back, he can play right back. Ten Hag loves him. He plays all the time, and he does chip in with the odd attacking return as well. In terms of some predicted data, Man United are expected to keep 1.5 clean sheets over this 5-game run, as opposed to Fulham's 1.3, and that's reflective of the amount of predicted points for the next 5, where Dalot is predicted to get 19.5 points, as opposed to Robinson's 15.9. So again, I think this one's quite close, and I wouldn't mind if people went for Anthony Robinson, but I'm going to go with the bias. I'm going to go Diego Dalot. I just think it's class. Leave a comment down below if you disagree with that. Moving on to some premium midfielders, we've got Heung-min Son, 9.8 million midfielder for Spurs, only 5.2% owned so far, up against Phil Foden, 9.2 million, 6.5% owned midfielder for Man City. And this one should be really close, but he just doesn't appear it on the surface. Heung-min Son, he's just in much better form. I think Spurs have got the better fixtures. I think Son is more short of minutes. Foden has only started 1 game so far and hasn't looked great at all. He's just got an assist in the Wolves game. He came off the bench and got the and whipped in a corner for John Stones. So that might help him a little bit, but it's not been great so far. And as a result of that, it should be really close. But their expected points, Heung-min Son is predicted to get 32.7 points as opposed to Phil Foden's 29.6. I think that's massively generous for Foden. I think they are expecting him to get more minutes. I'm just not convinced of it. I think there's a clear issue between Foden and Pep and Man City and Foden, or like whatever's going on. Like I just don't like the vibes. But Man City are predicted to score more goals over this 5-game period, with 10.8 as opposed to Spurs' 7.6. And the thing with that is that I would expect Son to be kind of pretty involved with kind of everything that's going on. I don't think he suits the style down to a T as much as he used to. It kind of drops Solanke quite deep, and I don't really like the things that they are doing. Like something isn't clicking 100%. This is his goals against West Ham was his first goal since game week 2, and he kind of blanked between that period. So for this one, it's like it should be close on paper, but it's not. Like I'm going Heung-min Son all day long. If you have got a feeling that Foden's going to start, I can see the reason why people might want to go there. I just don't trust it. Foden's very much a wait and see for me, so it's an easy pick. Heung-min Son all day long. Let's take a look at some cheaper midfielders. And Heung-min Son's teammate Kulusevski, 6.2 million midfielder for Spurs, only 2.1% owned so far, up against Garnacho, Man United midfielder, 6.2 million, 7.6% owned so far. In terms of the form, they both played pretty well so far. Garnacho looks like he's kind of got his minutes kind of locked down, and he has got a couple of goals so far in the league so far. I think he only made 4 or 5 starts. And I think he kind of will get more starts moving forward. In terms of the fixtures, I think this one's pretty close, but just because down to the fixture difficulty rating, where Man United have got 4 green fixtures as opposed to Spurs 3. I've kind of got to lean more towards United than that, and also I'm a Man United fan, I'm biased. Like, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? In terms of the minutes, I think they are both pretty locked down right now. Kulusevski surprised me with the amount of minutes that he has played. I thought he would be getting taken off around 75, 80 minutes every single week, but he's been pretty solid for minutes. He's played 90 more often than not. Garnacho started the last 4 and played 90 minutes in all of the last 4. In terms of the expected points and the predicted team goals, they're both very, very close. Kulusevski is predicted to get 24.7 points over the 5-game period, as opposed to Garnacho's 24.4. Man United have expected to score 7.7 goals over the 5-game period, as opposed to Spurs' 7.6. This one's really close. I'm going to go with my heart. I'm going to go with my Man United bias. I'm going to go Garnacho in this one. Leave a comment down below about Man United bias. What are you going to do? I don't care. last but not least, we've got the forwards, and it's Mateus Cunha, 6.5 million forward for Wolves, 2.5% owned, up against Raul Jimenez, 5.7 million, 7.2% owned. And the form for me is very much in favour of Raul Jimenez, where he scored 4 goals and got 1 assist in his last 5 starts for Fulham, as opposed to Cunha, who's made 7 starts and only got 3 goals. So for me, I am going to lean more towards Raul Jimenez in terms of the form. In terms of the fixtures, I think they've both got pretty good fixtures. Cunha and Wolves have got the likes of Crystal Palace, Southampton and Bournemouth at home in the next 5, and Raul Jimenez have got Everton, Brentford, Palace and Wolves in the next 4. So it's a nice little fixture run for Jimenez and Fulham. But in terms of the minutes, I would expect Cunha to start and play 90 minutes more often than not. He did come off early against Man City, but I think that's just down to the fact that he's doing a lot of running, but he has played 90 minutes in every other game besides that whenever he started. Raul Jimenez is going to play between 70 and 75 minutes every single week, and he might even get dropped for the odd game here and there where Muniz might come in and start for that game. So I would lean more towards Cunha in terms of the minutes aspect, but in terms of the expected points, it's pretty close. Cunha's expected to get 26.6 points over this 5-game period, as opposed to Raul Jimenez's 25.2. But Fulham are expected to score slightly more predicted goals over this period, where they're predicted to score 6.5 goals over this 5-game period, as opposed to Wolves' 6.2. This one's really, really close, but it just kind of depends how your team setup is. I'd probably say this one's closest one that we've got so far. Like, if you force me to kind of pick, I'd probably go Raul Jimenez. But I could see why you'd want to go for Wolves, where they've got a few good games here and there. But I'm not going to sit on the fence. I'm going Jimenez. Right, mates, that's all for this week's episode of This or That, focusing on game week 9. Who you're picking for your team? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and share it with your fellow FPL managers. See you in the next one, and good luck this game week. Peace and love.